Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Daniel, one half of the Kwok Brothers. And in today's video, I'm super duper excited because we have my very dear and near friend of mine, Mr. Jerome Maldonado, man. What's going on, baby?
What's up, Daniel? How are you today?
I'm doing excellent, man. It's a great day because we get to, it's not every day we get to record a video together. I know you're all the way down in New Mexico, so it's good to have you, man.
No, it's exciting. We've been talking about doing this for a long time, and we've been talking about doing it live and in person. And with COVID, it's restricted our ability to get together as rapidly as we wanted. But it's fun, and I'm excited to be here with you.
Yeah, I agree, man. So let's go ahead and get right into it, because there's a lot of things that we could talk about in regards to commercial real estate. Now do us a favor, Jerome. I know you've got a pretty long, extensive resume and experience in the commercial real estate space, but give us some highlights of who you are, who is Jerome Maldonado, and why should people listen to you?
Well, to kind of go back and share a little bit of my business experience. I think it's the longevity of everything that I've done, and really my upbringing. I come from super modest upbringings, like most of the professionals that I surround myself with and really strive to push in business. It wasn't even real estate. And I think that most people can relate to my story because I didn't come from being like a straight A student and somebody that just grasped this stuff. I worked hard going through school and even going through college, and I struggled a lot. I just found a means to be able to go out because I desired to go out and make more money. And I found a means in business to go out and generate capital. But I also realized that in business, there was a big roller coaster that you ride with up and down markets. And I didn't know any of that growing up because I wasn't taught it. And so just common sense said, I need to invest in an asset that holds steady, whether my businesses do well or not. And that's really how I got into real estate, was just investing initially into one house. Then it went to two houses. And then because of the need and the growth of my business, I got into buying a commercial building. And since then, 20 years has passed and we've been in so much diverse sectors of real estate. What's funny is that people ask me, they go, Jerome, what area of real estate do you specialize in? And I was telling them, I specialize in any real estate that makes me money. And so we've had some multi-diverse areas. I know there's some guys that just focus only on multifamily or just on single family homes. We've truly been in retail and office for the mass majority. We've been in land development and land acquisitions for years, for over 20 years. And we also own multifamily, and now we're in the warehouse sector and industrial space. And so I have a real broad perspective on a mass sector of real estate, commercial real estate, more so than anything.
Yeah. And, having said that, you also get to work with a lot of cool people. So having said that, man, it sounds like you're the right guy. You're the perfect guy to ask this question. But let's first start with some generalities. What do you think's happening overall in the real estate market?
Well, as I pick up my phone and I look at CNBC, as I look at Fox News, and I look at all the big guys and I see all the reports that are coming out, I can't help but also feel saddened by the large companies that are getting affected, but not only the large companies, all the employees. Like yesterday, I just read that Regal Theaters is going to be closing down, something like 500 and some theaters, affecting over 5,500 employees that'll be out of work and out of jobs. And I take a look at articles that I read continuously, how there's mass distress in retail and in the hospitality space. People aren't traveling, so hotels are in distress. And so I look at this and I say, okay, where can I position myself where I can help people benefit? And in doing so, myself and our companies also benefit. And so anytime I look at the distressed sectors, I automatically pivot towards those areas because I know where there's mass distress, there's also opportunity. And so those are the true sectors that we're really going towards right now is the mass distress sectors. But it's not only the mass distress sectors. What's really important, and I'll tell you that 90% of success, you could have all the strategies in the world. You can have the perfect recipe for success. But if you implement those strategies at the wrong time, you may have no success at all or even failure. And so I always tell people that you have to exercise those strategies at the right time. So when you look at it and you go, okay, what's growing right now? What's booming right now? And as you and I sit here over a computer doing a live chat, an interview, I sit back and go, e-commerce and technology has taken over the world, right? So I look at back when I opened up my business in 1995, where I was running around paperwork to clients or running them through a fax machine. And the ease of the fax machine was what really was our saving grace, right, in those days. And so I was still running around with a pager. And I just look at the evolution of technology from 1995 to 2020. And then I look at 1996 till today, where the internet was implemented and e-commerce and online shopping was back then and where it is now. And I can't help but say, okay, I have got to position myself in a fashion where I can take advantage of that booming market. The only problem is I'm not a tech guy. I'm not a computer guy. I struggle with that stuff. So how can I position myself to take advantage of it? And I sit back and go, okay, I can position myself in the real estate sector to be able to take advantage of that stuff. And so I think that right now, with the mass distress of hospitality, of retail, the movie theater sectors, all of that stuff, there's opportunity for us to take advantage and reposition, repivot a little bit so that we can make gains in those sectors.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. And this is a question that I've been getting a lot. A lot of people have been asking me, Daniel, is it a good time to buy right now? And, generally my answer, number one, is, well, it depends. What are you buying? But number two, generally speaking, where the market is, you could say no for a lot of different asset classes right now, because, as the saying always goes, and you tell me all the time, Jerome, it's, you never want to catch a falling knife. You never want to try catching something that's on its way down. Now, having said that, however, like you just alluded to, there are many opportunities right now that are present that you and a couple other partners are taking advantage of. So in your opinion, what are the three things that people should stay away from right now and not buy? And what are three things that, people could buy and have a lot of great opportunities to make some money?
So in the same sense, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because the question, some of the same stuff that I'm going to recommend that you guys buy, I'll also caution you guys to buy. Some of the things I'm cautioning you to buy, if you buy correctly and reposition, I may encourage you guys to buy. And so one of the things that we're doing is, if you're trying to purchase anything that has to do with retail or office right now, and put it back and utilize it as retail or office, you're buying the wrong real estate. You're gonna die in the industry, and it's gonna cost you financially. And so right now, I'm cautioning people from buying any type of retail or office if you're trying to re-stimulate that sector, because those sectors are obvious that they're in mass distress, right? Now, on the opposite end of that, we're purchasing a lot of retail, but not for retail usage. We're purchasing it to be able to go in and reposition it. When I say reposition it, we rezone the retail into whatever we're looking for. Right now, industrial and warehouse space is what's big. The biggest opposition that we're getting is the city and municipalities coming in and saying, well, hold on here. They just envision all these mass 18-wheelers coming through and this big, massive 450,000 square foot shopping center turning into this distribution plant, right? Like you see Walmart and these distribution plants just on the outskirts of major cities. Well, essentially, that's what we're trying to do. And now those are the moves we're making with large retail space, because we can pick them up 90% discounted on the dollar from what they were selling for 15 years ago. And so with that type of depreciation and cost, it gives us a lot of versatility as to what we can do with that real estate to make it functional. So if the city comes into us and says, hey, we don't want to have all this mass square footage, we'll say, okay, well, why don't we take 10 or 20,000 square feet, leave it storefront retail, and position it with Verizon stores, or we put in restaurants and eateries, and we do some entertainment establishments, and then the rest of the square footage we utilize as industrial warehouse space. So repositioning in that fashion, if you're buying retail or distressed office space, is incredible. And you don't even have to go in and buy large square footages. For the people that are listening to this, and they're sitting back, just scratching their head going, I can't afford to buy 450,000 square foot shopping centers. You don't need to. You can go in, and my first building, I landed up purchasing it for $250,000. It was a modest 7,700 square feet. And I'll tell you that those buildings are still available at that same price, even 20 years later, because they're distressed. There's not a lot in there. there's not a lot in the retail sector. And so you could purchase these small properties for less than $250,000, a real modest down payment. You'll be surprised at how many people are willing to do owner financing for you, where they become the bank, finance those deals for you. And you can position yourself for a very modest down payment, restructure that property, and then benefit from the rents on that. And they're going, they're doing really well right now. The other sector that I would stay away from right now would be single family home investments, at least in the moment. The market is overstimulated right now. And I already felt the overstimulation of the residential market in 2019 before COVID. And so what I tell people is anytime you see the mass majority of people running towards a sector of real estate or anything in business, you should pivot 180 degrees and go the opposite direction. And so I'm really cautioning people right now, if you have inventory, take advantage of the moment to, if you're in a position where you need to get rid of that inventory, diminish your inventory and start putting money back into the bank. And it's a great opportunity to relieve yourself of dead real estate or inventory that you don't need so you can reposition, but not a time to start flipping homes, not a time to start investing in single family dwellings. The market's just way overstimulated and you're gonna get stuck in properties.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you mentioned that because, Jerome, you're a guy, and correct me, Jerome, you've been in real estate now for what, over 20 years, 25 years? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I've been in investment real estate since 1999. So 21 years I've been buying real estate that I've invested in rental properties. I bought my first property that was a single family home that wasn't a rental, my own property, which I still consider that part of my real estate deal. It was back in 1997. And so well over 20 years of real estate experience and 21 years of solid commercial real estate experience where I've been investing.
Yeah. And I'm sure even before 1997, you had your nose in different investment vehicles. You were learning, you were reading, and you were studying, So, I mean, you're talking about 25 years of being involved in the space. And, that means a lot coming from you because you've been there, done that. You've seen what markets can go through. And, for me, it's very ironic. I literally just made a video the other day about how, there is a housing crash potentially coming and how there's a lot of YouTubers out right now saying that it's not a big deal, that it's okay to buy single family homes. And for you to say that, it's very, very reassuring. It's refreshing. So, time to pivot here because this video is about commercial real estate. Let's say that you got a guy watching this video right now, let's say he's young. Let's say he doesn't have a whole lot of money. Maybe he only has about 20, 30, 40, maybe if he's lucky, 50,000 saved up. And what advice would you give to that individual? And he's watching this video saying, well, I know there's a potential opportunities coming. I know there's a crash coming. What do I need to do today? What are my action steps for me to be where Jerome is at?
Yeah. So that's a great question. And I'm going to tell it in a simple story as well. Look, if you have $20,000, $30,000, you're in a perfect position because you're in the exact same position I was in when I first got started in real estate. I would tell you to really focus on maybe one or two different sectors. Right now, I'm whole gun in industrial warehouse space because I know the need for it. You open up and you just Google how much warehouse space is going to be needed over the next 10 years to service e-commerce. And you're going to have Google pull up all these articles about how there's well over 1 billion square feet of warehouse space is going to be needed over the next 5 years alone. So 5 years in addition to that, how much more is really going to be needed? Is it going to be 2 billion? Is it going to be 1.5 billion? All I know is there's going to be billions of square feet. And so you have to kind of position your mind where you say, okay, the timing is right. I've got to take advantage of at least up as a part of a small sector of that. If you could find yourself a 6,000 square foot, 7,000 square foot warehouse building that doesn't, one thing that's nice about industrial warehouse space is that there's not a lot of expense to running and facilitating it. So I love multifamily. I know that multifamily has been the big investment deal for most people for a long time. And I always tell people, it's great. Multifamily is great. We own it. We own a lot of it and we still buy more of it. But for a lot of people getting started, unless they're investing like the small 4-plex, small 8-plex, 6-plex, it's a really hard industry to grow in initially on the forefront. You have to mass a small fortune to be able to continue growing. And the way you do that is by getting involved in some sector of real estate that can help you grow. And so the biggest thing is if you have an empty building, the value of that building goes down substantially. So for example, we just purchased a 7,700 square foot building that was owned by Cream Donuts up in the Northeast, up in Virginia. And it's a simple little building. We landed up picking it up for a little over $200,000. We leased the property. It didn't need much work. We had some handymen go in, fix some heating and cooling systems, do a little bit of landscape cleanup and clean out the facility. I think for less than $5,000, we got the property running, and we leased it for $3,500 triple net. So for those people who don't know what a triple net lease is, it's when the tenant takes financial responsibility for all the expenses on that property. They pay the property taxes, they assume all the responsibilities and liability for all the utilities, property insurance, so forth and so on. So it literally puts you in a position where you have almost no expenses on that property except for the structure itself. And so they even pay for the parking lot, wear and tear on the asphalts. And so your expenses are extremely low when you lease a property in a triple net lease. So we took a more modest lease because we could have pressed for an extra $500 a month, maybe $600 a month. But I said, you know what? If they take 100% of the financial responsibilities on the property, I can lease this property for $3,500 a month, triple net. I have no expense on that property. And so since we purchased that, if you purchase that property on a note, let's say you have a $200,000 note on that property. Right now, if you owner finance it, typically people that are owner financing, they usually pay about 2% over prime, which would put them at about 6%, maybe even 7% interest. And so if you finance a deal at 6-7%, your interest payments on that property are less than $2,000 a month. And so you're cash flowing over $1,500 a month every single month. So your ROI on your investment and your cap rate is sitting right on your cash on cash return is sitting right about 15%. And so when you stop and you think about that and you think, okay, what does the stock market bear? What does my bank account bear? You know, and you sit back on real cash on cash return on your investment, to be able to get 15 plus return annually on your money is just unheard of. But it can be done right now with warehouse space if you shop right. So for the new people coming in, you got to simplify things mentally. And this is where most people fail in real estate, is that they tend to complicate everything and they feel like they don't have enough knowledge. And to your point, you know, I didn't go out and in all honesty, I really didn't pick up a real estate book for probably 10 to 15 years into being in real estate. I really took a simple concept. When I was in business, I was in direct sales and network marketing, and we used training centers to be able to build our distributorships in direct sales and network marketing. And we filled them with desks. And so I put as many desks in that office as humanly possible. So if you think of like a telemarketing office, it was almost the same type of concept, except for each desk I looked at is $500. So every desk I had in that office equated to $500 in what I call desk rent. So I'd go facilitate a lease on an office space that maybe cost me $2,000, $2,500 a month with all utilities paid. And I would lease each desk for $500, $500, $500. And if you didn't have enough money to cover $500, I would lease you half a desk for $250 and another half a desk to another distributor for $250. And I might have, 15 desks in that office. And so I have several thousands of dollars every single month coming in rental income. And literally that's how I lived and survived in direct sales. So when I got involved in real estate, not knowing anything about real estate, I took that exact same concept. I bought a retail center that was 7,700 square feet. I parked my business in 800 square feet. The commercial real estate in the back of the property to store all our equipment because we were in the construction industry, and I leased the rest of the property. And so I was able to go out and facilitate about 6,800, 900 square feet of rental space that I was able to bring in returns of almost like $5,000 a month in rental income. My payment was about $1,300 a month. I found an owner finance deal on that first property I bought. And so if you look hard enough, you'll be surprised. So if you sit back and you think, okay, I have bad credit or I have no credit, or what bank is going to lend to me because I have no experience. The thing that's great about owner finance deals is I would shop if I was a newbie for deals, and I would look for only deals that are owner financing. Get in for a low down payment of your $20,000, $30,000 that you have. Figure out a way before you buy that property, how it's going to cash flow for you, get creative on it, and then just position yourself to implement what you're going towards. So if it's warehouse space, what do you need to do to make that into a warehouse sector space that you can go out and lease it or give yourself multi-tenant options? There is some office space retail in your neighborhood, take advantage of the rents from, but I would really keep it simple, and I would just keep the real estate simple, and I would look for owner financing. That would be what I would starting all over again.
Yeah. And, by the way, for all you viewers, if you need a resource to learn about owner financing, you can pick up this book, of course, 0to75units.com. The book is completely free. I sent Jerome a copy with a signed copy, of course, and he called that day and said, hey, I've got it in my bedroom reading it now. So much appreciate you, Jerome. And for all the viewers, get the book. I want to conclude this video, Jerome, by asking you one last question. And, I think you could really add some insight to this. But what do you think? There's a lot of wrenches in the air right now. There's a lot of balls in the air. There's the election. There's this pandemic that's happening. There's a lot of issues going on with housing. But from the commercial real estate standpoint, with all the things that's going on and all the craziness, what do you speculate could possibly happen or more likely happen based on your experience in the next 3 to 6 months?
Okay, so I'm going to give you two insights on this to conclude this sector. Now, look, large corporations, they don't do their annual budgets and their 5-year, 10-year projections based on the elections, okay? The United States is going to be fine. The election is going to be fine. We're going to have a hiccup in the marketplace. It always happens. Election years are always tough. People become a little bit more conservative. And so I would say make your long-term perspective goals for the next 5 years based on what your goals need to be. And what I mean by that is you need to focus on a plan first and foremost, and not worry about the election, not worry about any of that stuff. Now, with that being said, we still have the coronavirus in the pandemic that we're still battling right now. And with that, and with all of what's happening in that sector, you got to realize that there's opportunity. And I know that people tend to focus on the negative that is always publicized, that is publicized publicly on all of the networks and all of the news media. And so what I'm telling you guys is turn the television off, relieve yourself of all the negative news and press, listen and read the articles in the sectors that need stimulation. So I get just as much positive reinforcement on stuff as I do negative reinforcement. And so I'm telling you that if you go in and you look at what a mass need of industrial warehouse space is, people need to focus on taking advantage of that billion square feet. What if you can position yourself where you take advantage of 3 or 4 small buildings and all you take advantage of is 50,000 square feet of warehouse space. And based on that, you make yourself an extra $200,000 a year in simple cash flow. And people need to get away from the big numbers. They need to simplify things, because think about how $200,000 a year is life-changing for the mass majority of people listening to this right now. 97% of every viewer listening to this video right now, think about how $200,000 a year would change your life. And so if you just simplify it and say, okay, I have a 5-year goal to acquire 4 simple properties. And those 4 simple properties are going to bring me in someplace between $4,000 and $5,000 a month in cash flow. And I'm going to work over the next 10 years to pay those off. That, my friend, is life-changing. And that is a very simple perspective that can take place right now. But don't focus on the problem with the pandemic, the elections. Focus on a solution. There's a mass need to service e-commerce. It's a huge industry. It's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. That is where the focus needs to be, is resolving finding a solution for the problem of the need that is not currently available of mass warehouse space, rooftops, the millennials, people that are going to be needing more rooftops as they continue to mature and get into married families, so forth and so on. And so those are the sectors people need to focus on.
And I'm glad you bring that up, especially in the commercial sector, because the last 2-3 months, I've been telling people in the housing market sector pretty much the same thing. Is be prepared. Don't watch the news or anything like that, but be educated in where things are going, right, in the housing market, and build those relationships with those bankers, build your team, get your attorney, get started, get educated. So I'm glad you and I are the same in that regard. So Jerome, thank you so much, man, for being here, taking your time to explain to us what's happening in the commercial real estate market, what you're planning on doing with it. You got anything exciting going on, man? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of going on. You know, we have the event coming up. It's the Real Estate Domination 2020 event. For those people who are in need of some education, this is an event. It's a gift from me to the people that are looking to aspire to invest, or people that have already invested and want to scale their business to the next level. I have a great network of professionals, you and your brother included. And so I'm excited because every single individual that I bring to these events, it's a virtual event. We were going to go live in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, we couldn't. And so we are going to bring that same magnitude of information to everybody out there virtually. And what's really cool is that we were expecting about 350 to 500 people live. Now we're going to have several thousand people that are going to be able to join us live virtually for the event, which people, if they're the convenience of their own home, can join us. And here's what's cool about it is that we have people like you and your brother that are going to come in, talk about owner financing, how you guys scaled your business from literally nothing to where you're at today, which I highly respect. And one of the reasons that I love the collaboration with you guys, we have people like Todd Alt. So those people that want to scale their portfolio to something bigger or are interested in finding out about hard money lending. Todd runs a $70 million a year publicly traded company. And you know, the information that he can give you on syndicating, how to get hard money lending on deals, that'll be available to him. People like Brandon, there's his story very similar to your brother's, where he started with nothing, utilized cards and credit to finance his deals, to teach people how to clean their credit, how to go out and move and develop their credit so they can use credit cards to go out and invest in real estate utilizing 0% APR and 0% finance credit to be able to go out and start their portfolios. We have my good friend, Owen Gibson, a 25-year plus veteran friend of mine that was in direct sales with me, leasing desk space like I was, who got into the mortgage banking industry. And he's going to be talking about how people can dissect money and pull money from their current dwellings, their current investments, and reposition capital to grow their portfolios. And then we got, who else do we got? We got Dean, who exercised the BRRRR strategy. We're going to be bringing in my good friend, Sean Maloney, who started his brokerage 3 years ago. And now he's running one of the largest brokerage firms up in the Northeast. And he's just had massive success. He had a landscape company, went into the brokerage industry, and he's in residential real estate brokerage firm, and he's just killing it. And so he's going to be bringing the systems that he uses and the systems that he set in place to the table. For those people that want to learn how to make money in real estate, we're bringing Nadine to the table, and Nadine is awesome. Nadine is a wholesale queen. She has killed it in the wholesale sector.
Mutual friend of ours too. We all spoke together in Dallas.
She did. Yep, we sure did. And in fact, the respect level that I have for you guys, I share with Nadine, because I've seen what this woman's done, and she's referred properties to us. She's wholesaled some properties up in North Carolina to us. And it's been incredible. And so just the network of professional colleagues. And the real push behind the event is to really educate people with one of my good friends and business partners, Ty Lopez, and what he's and I have partnered to do. And so for those people that are in real estate, don't know who Ty Lopez is, he's a big internet influencer. And most people thought that's all he was an internet influencer. Lo and behold, he's started his company like Mentor Box, Farmer's Cart, and Knowledge Society, and many others. Not only that, over the last year, him and his other business partner, Alex Meir, have went out and they've acquired big American brands that we all know. Companies like Pier 1 Imports, Mordell Sporting Goods, Linen and Things, Dress Barn, the Franklin Mint, and a few others that are under acquisition right now. And so what's exciting is Ty and I partnered up and we created a company called ESR, and it's e-commerce supporting real estate. I'm the CEO of the company. And what it is we found a way for e-commerce to support the purchasing of industrial warehouse space. And Ty's going to talk about the benefit to revitalizing these dead American brands. You see companies like JCPenney's going into bankruptcy, and you see some of these other, like Sears Roebuck and Company, these brands have name recognition, but haven't went online, and they're dying brands he's revitalizing these brands, bringing them back alive through the means of e-commerce. But when you house and store the products. And so we're going to be showing you guys how Walmart does it, how Amazon does it, and how all these other brands are in need of the exact same thing over the next 10 years. How you can take advantage of a piece of that and profit from it long term. And so it's a no sales event. It's an all-you event. It's November 6th, 7th, and 8th, and I'm excited to bring it to you guys, and it's totally free, and I'm excited. We're going to put the link in there so you guys can for the event as well.
Yeah, we're excited. And like Jerome said, we're going to put the link in the description, and, and we're going to have other individuals on our YouTube channel, in the next coming weeks, people that will be speaking at the event. We're working on getting Ty on here to share his wisdom, and then we're going to promote the event. And of course, he's going to be there as well. We're going to be speaking. So Jerome, I'm really excited to be part of the event. We're honored, we're humbled, and we're going to have some fun. But thank you again for being part of this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me. Really, really honored to be here. Thank you to all the guests and everybody.